You can see how much that means to him. It means a lot to everybody in this locker room, bro. We set the tone. We took it to them. We don't got shit from no body, bro. We set the tone, man. We set the tone. Offense, defense, special teams. We come to practice. We practice hard. We take it to people. We be opportunistic, and we gonna win games, bro.
Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and my two co-hosts will be here periodically, but we're now joined by everybody's favorite hog, Mr. Rick Doc Walker. But before we get into last night's game, Doc, just want to say the Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com. Last night, Washington walks into Philadelphia. They defeat the Eagles 32-21, absolutely dominated on the time of possession. Doc, my first question for you is, what does this mean for this team going forward? Obviously, you as a former player, it's not the same circumstances, but a win like this, where it's a David versus Goliath type of matchup, and is that a kind of confidence-building win for a team?
I think it's progression. If you look back at the Vikings, you play a 6-1 team, and you basically give them the game, but you were in a tug-of-war, and you were an equal. And you let that one get away. I go back to Tennessee Titans, another good football team. Yep. You're on the 2-yard line. You got first down and goal, and you fail to pound the thing in. You got in shotgun and got cute, and that didn't work. So those are two possibilities that show that you're legit, but you don't finish. Then you go down and take on the hottest team in football in their house, and you go out and you go toe-to-toe with them. And it could have gone either way. But this one you were able to preserve and get a victory. So the team is improving. You're getting new heroes. I say all the time, we need a hero, somebody to come up and get the job done. The Cam Curl type. You look at Forrest and what these guys do. The core of the team is the fact that Larson came off a back injury, came out, and was able to play for you. Trey Turner, Norwell. I call it the core. Heineke, if you're going to be in a 5 to 7 step drop, that core cannot give up space. Every inch matters. Those guys perform. You get the Longhorn that comes back in and contributes. He fights. You have so many heroes, guys that are stepping up. And then Heineke, the play out of bounds, the errant snap, the recovery, no panic.
Yes.
Knew exactly what to do with it, Yeah. Yeah, and he's his own worst enemy. If you take away a 50-50 ball he throws up, he's going to have that kind of game, one of these games where he gets a 0 turnover game. They're going to win because the defense right now gives you a chance to win. The secondary gives you a chance to win. St. Juice, the plays are, you got a call that the ball wasn't catchable. Right. And so the ball was thrown inside. He gets a flag on it. It's going to happen. Happens for them, happens for us. But when you compare yourself against teams that are playoff-bound teams. The Vikings are playoff-bound team. The Philadelphia is there. The Titans, to me, are legit. That's what I judge. And I judge and go, how do you stack up? So you're getting Sweat. You're getting the D-line. You're getting Smith-Williams. You got contributors now across the board. People are standing up, and they're being accounted for. You can't take that away. And it's to look at the league now. If you go to the top 20 teams, there's teams in there with 3, 4, 5 losses. So from the National Football League standpoint, this is really what you want. There's really no lead dog. You thought it was Buffalo. They've lost 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And so if you're a fan of just the NFL, you got to like what you see. And then you look at your team and you go, they're competitive. They're making plays. Now what they have to do is continue to get better. Taylor's got to get better. Everybody's got to get better. And if your team rises together, you got a chance to play anybody. There's nobody in the league is insurmountable. If that was the undefeated team and you went toe-to-toe again, win, lose, or draw, excuse me, you went toe-to-toe.
Back-to-back weeks.
That's encouraging.
Last week they went toe-to-toe with the Vikings, too. Vikings are 8-1. They were right there with them until the final minute. So, Doc, real fast, before I ask a question, I just wanted to say we were texting about this last night. We're like, if we end up pulling this off and we win, Doc Walker's the only person who I want to talk to tomorrow because this dude is going to get us so fired up. So we're so pumped for that. So happy to have you here.
It's what they did. They did it.
Yeah.
When you have a player like Terry McLaurin, if you look at all the way across the board, the receiving group, right, is on fire.
Yeah.
These guys, they make plays. And then if you look at the running back position and what 8 and 24 did, and B-Rob is going to get better every week. It's a great story. It's miraculous that the guy survived, but he's still a rookie. So every week he's going to get better. That was his best performance. You want your players ascending. We're in the second half of the season. Nobody's a rookie. So now, and they're taking on those roles, and I just think your defense gives you a chance. And then when your punter and your kicker play prominent roles, maybe no bigger role than the errant snap, where you get Tress Way goes up and does a Wilt Chamberlain, pulls that thing back down, and then you get Bigfoot coming in there hitting 50-yard field goals.
I know.
Hey, man, you can't make this up. This is a contribution by all the participants. Everybody's in there, and they're contributing. Special teams, coverage teams, every facet of the game, you have proven you're competitive. You can win. And so everybody's developing, and injuries change everything. King Kong was out last, and it hurt Philadelphia in the middle.
Yeah.
You take advantage of that. I think I call the core, once again, if you look at your center, who he got my K9 award, I go, Larson, this guy, I saw him on a bike. He and Trey Turner, I was at training camp. They never participated. Not one play at training camp.
Yeah.
We have him rounding into shape. And so long, if you look at Norwood, Larson, and Trey Turner, that core, they stood up, man. And Philadelphia, if that's the best, then you're among the best because you're competing. It's not paper. We're not prognosticating. It's facts.
Right.
You can play with anybody in this league. And you got to understand that every week, now your biggest test will be against someone that you have a better record than.
Yeah.
Now, if you feel your oats and think you're special, then you'll go down there and you'll get your teeth kicked in. So what you got to do is just keep bearing down, and you're in the race, but it's a long race. Yeah. It really is. And so everything in this league is based on injuries. If you lose a guy, next man up has got to feel it and be equal or better. And that's what they're getting now. Yeah. So I got to give 29 a shout out.
Yeah.
Because the kid comes up, makes some plays.
Yeah.
So it's all rounding together. Fuller is making plays. We're starting to take guys for granted. And you never do that. You go find a way to get better. And you can look at that film, and it's easier to ride them harder when you win than when you lose. So you can coach them, be critical, because you got a victory, but it's not over. You're in the race. You know, it's not about celebrating. It's about bearing down. I don't think we lost anybody in the game. That's another plus.
No.
The Eagles lost 2 guys in the game.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. It's attrition. It is being hungry, being humble, and then going after to get better.
Doc, as a former player, how did you feel about those penalties towards the end of the game? I mean, we heard Philly radio stations talking about how that cost them the whole game. I personally think it was the 2-1 time of possession that we had that probably cost them more of the game than anything.
Ball like we held the ball.
40 minutes to 19 minutes.
I'm saying all throughout Twitter, hog the ball.
Right.
We just hog the ball. We control the tempo, and we're not perfect, but we're in the process of developing a championship mentality. Now these kids know they can play with anybody. Now you just got to go dig down and now be very critical of yourself. This is not a time to pat yourself on the back. It's to go in there and go, we can be better. They can be better. They can be better. And so when you start looking at it that way, Philadelphia, I loved Hurst. I love the fact that he said, hey, Washington wanted it more. They came out and proved it's the biggest stage. You got one Monday night primetime deal, and they go out and knock them off. If you look back and go back to the Pittsburgh game, when Pittsburgh at the time was 8-0, they went to Pittsburgh and knocked them off. This is the kind of mindset you have to understand who you are and what you're capable of doing. And it's a grind, but I like where we are. and you have next week, only thing that matters is going down there on the road again and be road warriors and play within yourself and get after it. So I just like Sly. I like our specialists. This program was built on the foundation of special teams. It's about special teams, getting every inch, flipping the field, hog the ball, and just don't give up anything. So I'm very encouraged about it. You may get good news, if not this week or the following week. Eventually, Chase Young is going to add a piece in there, but I hope he doesn't do it until he's absolutely ready to be a game-changing player again. You get 15 to 20 snaps out of him, it makes the defense wonder. Now they got to slide. What do? You leave him sweat one-on-one? That's a mistake. All of a sudden now these things start to go in. Ridgewell came in. Everybody's contributing. It's 53 strong. It's not about one guy. And then the heart that quarterback displays, if he just continues the way he's going and get better every week, then the sky's the limit. You're legit. You can be in the mix. And that's all you ask for.
It's true. Hall, you got a question for Doc?
Did you mention anything about St. Juice yet?
Nope.
Yeah, so I feel like the last couple of weeks, Benjamin St. Juice, he's going up against A.J. Jefferson. He's going up against A.J. Brown. A lot of people say those are some of the top guys in the league. That's what I say, Justin
A.J. Jefferson, yeah.
I was thinking about A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, but he's been really showing out and really doing his thing. So just how do you see the growth of St. Juice, and what do you think he can be for this team?
Well, he's legit. I mean, he is a guy that can match up with anyone, and he's going to get better. Again, you got to understand his youth. He's doing this. This is really his rookie season on the corner,
right?
Taking on ones. This league has the best batch of wide receivers we probably had in 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you look at the guys that have played this game, the Jerry Rice, if you look at, real legitimate ones, you're dealing with guys now that are freakish beyond comparison. But that's the benefit of what he sees in practice. It's not a shock to him. He's got 3 guys. And Jahan came back and hopefully didn't set himself back. When you see that in practice, you're not shocked. Before, we've been a little void of talent, so the game shocks you. The game don't shock him now. We've got elite people at every spot sprinkled in. So you get a chance to match up. If you look at Norwood, he's going up against John Allen every day. Same thing goes Trey Turner. He's going up, against 94. That's how teams are developed, mano a mano throughout the week. The game is not a shock to you because you've seen elite. They have elite players. Tribute to the front office, collecting players, getting guys in. Yeah, we've lost a couple guys, but we've gained some guys. And it's about the next batch. It's the next man mentality to where guys come in and play assignment football. No more freelancing. They're playing within. I think Del Rio's group is a perfect example of what can happen when you make it about us and not about me. And now they got a us mentality defensively. And it's because of who they did it against, it's highly encouraging.
Highly encouraging, to say the least, Doc. But last question I have for you. I know you're very busy and you got to get out of here. But I just wanted to say only 4 8-0 or better teams in the Super Bowl era have lost at home to a team with a losing record. Washington has 2 of them. One with the Pittsburgh Steelers and obviously one last night. Ron Rivera and co. need their flowers here. But my last question for you, Doc. If we give out game beers after wins and say one player that deserves to kick their feet up, enjoy a game beer before they get back to work, they've earned it this week. If there's only one player, one person, coach, whatever have you, that deserves to kick their feet up and enjoy that game beer, who is it?
Well, he ain't going to kick his feet up. Terry McLaurin, he'll take a sip and keep moving because that's who he is. It's not a time to celebrate. This guy he's phenomenal. And I do believe that if he didn't do it, Curtis would have done it. If Curtis didn't do it, Jahan would have done it. If he didn't do it, Sims would have done it. What it is now, it's not a one-man band. It's a collection of people coming at you. And the good teams, the championship teams, have unsung heroes all over the place. But the stars, the guys who make the most, must do the most. And the good teams always have guys who get the big check, but I expect you to have big stats. That's what we're getting now. And then you'll get some guys that'll pop out and they'll want to get in the deal as well. There's no such thing as reserves to me. It's 53 strong going at it. And then The coaches, you got to give front office coaches, trainers, Bellamy. I can't say enough of what this guy has done.
Yeah,
because you're getting players back on the field. He's rehabbed. I mean, it's a sense of calm, and all the things that buzz around it, it don't matter because all those things that go on off, they don't play. Coaches don't play. Owners don't play. The 53 guys that put that uniform and go out there, they represent. And they're a force of one. And that's what I like about it right now. If you listen to their locker room, if you listen to John Allen, then you get it. They've done nothing. They've done their job. You don't get accolades until you get in the playoffs and win a playoff game.
My man.
We haven't won that since I had an afro. So what I'm saying is that, it's time to be humble, but also be aggressive and know that we belong. And if you belong, then go out and prove it. And that's what these guys are doing. I mean, the fact that I know they can get better is what I like. B-Rob, 24, they're going to break runs. It's going to happen because the wide receivers block. All extended runs are a reflection of guys downfield that are blocking. This collection of tight ends, 82, you haven't even seen him yet.
Right.
I know.
He came back too soon to me. I think he wanted it really bad. He's getting back in that flow. This guy's elite. What's going on right now, the way Bates and these guys and Amari, it's a collection. So we've got a guy that was really the highlighted player throughout training camp at tight end. He hadn't played.
Yeah.
What you want is you got.
Yeah, that's true.
He hadn't even played. So good teams, they just keep coming at you. It's a wave of talent. The front office, you got to give them a fun bunch high five because they've identified talent. Then the coaching staff has brought them in and they've worked that talent to where they can bring it out working collectively. That's how you win. It's not that hard, but it's hard because everybody's got to be unselfish.
Yeah.
It ain't about me. Just listen to their captains. Good teams have captains that speak during the game. They speak on the field. That after all in press all that talk, that doesn't win games. Wins games is leadership and the way these guys play. When you can do that on the road, and I'll say this, the home crowd for the Commanders here of late has been special. Everybody, clowns us about people coming in. Well, we travel too. We do everything everybody else does. What we got to do is do it better and be consistent and be very humble. I say those kids right now, what an opportunity you have because people say the schedule favors you, but they don't play. You got to look at every game. Let's play the Eagles every week.
Hey,
if
Texans
that's the way
almost
you're
beat the
gonna
Eagles.
perform,
Yeah.
let's play them every week because that's what you got to have in your mind. I don't want anybody talking about, oh, man, we got you. No, you don't. You don't understand. You don't understand this, man. Everybody gets paid in this league. And
Houston laid the blueprint for beating the Eagles.
Well, we'll see. You look at the 49ers.
They played with them. Yeah.
They played with them. They played with the Vikings. They can play with anybody. There's never a game they got to go into and say, wow. No, they can match up with anybody, but they got to play.
Yeah.
And they got to do it. There's a spirit. The thing that Heineke brings to them is he's a connector. Just imagine if he steps his game up and even get a turnover. If we don't turn it over, we're hard to beat.
Yeah.
If we don't help teams beat us, we're hard to beat. That's what it's all about. And then again, we don't know who goes down. You don't know, can't control that. But that's why I like the fact we play a lot of players. Don't pay attention to the rotation. We're rotating people.
Yeah.
We're playing a lot. Smith Williams played his butt up. Two-Hill comes up again. These are good. This is what happens, man. I always talk about our teams. I always mention Nick Giaquino, trash man. Trash man was invaluable. Coming on third down packages, making plays. You got to have everybody. We're not selling gear. Everybody, the guy who gets to get, that don't matter. Everybody has got a role as significant. So I'm excited about it. It's really great, but we got a short week now. And that's why I'm trying to emphasize the fact that put the pom-poms down. They did what they're capable of doing. That was not a shock, okay? It's business as usual. And this is the way they got to say. And I'm still just thinking about Tennessee drives me nuts.
Yeah,
I know.
And thinking about the games and the Vikings, it drives me nuts. Then I think about, well, look at the first time you played the Eagles to now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Look at the development in the team from that to now.
People are calling it a season after week 3.
Right.
Yeah, but we're doing this.
Yep.
We're doing this. We're not plateau. We're doing this. And that's what it's all about. Now the Eagles over there saying, hey, we were doing this and now we got this. They got to kick it back up. Buffalo is sitting down there griping the whole thing. Now that's 2 in a row. That's 2 in a row for them. Hey, pay attention. I said this weeks ago. I don't think Buffalo. I don't think Kansas City. I think it's going to be somebody other than the top dogs. They're building on this. Like what Green Bay did to Dallas. That's not a fluke. If those young kids out, those receivers, they made plays. He's been putting the ball on them all year.
Right.
Now they're catching it. Now they're protecting a little bit better. But the Green Bay success is the running game. If we hog the ball, we're hard to beat.
You're absolutely right, Doc. And real quick before you got here, one word.
No, go ahead.
One word to answer. I just want to get your opinion. Just one word. Nick Sirianni last week said that he would take Brian Quick over Art Monk. Did you see those comments?
No. I mean, I'd expect him to do that.
Okay, good.
If I was in Philadelphia, I'd take Quick too. Quick was a hell of a player. I ain't mad at Quick.
He was.
But he ain't James Arthur Monk. I mean,
thank you.
So James Arthur, but it worked for them. And I could, I like Mike a lot, but I'm saying Art did that and we won. Art did that on championship teams, and so when guys perform and still get their accolades and the teams in playoff and championship contention, it's different. It's different. If a guy's playing on a team, they don't win. It's winning for us first, stats second.
Yep.
And the only thing that matters is that ball control, which we dominated in. We win the turnover battle. We don't help you beat us, and we control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, we did.
At 40, if you want time of possession, I mean, it doesn't get any better.
40 minutes. 40 minutes to 19. That's absolutely just disgusting.
And the fact that those 19 minutes, they were still able to be close.
Yeah,
is what you got to say to yourself.
Right.
Because we let it get away. That's been total domination.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Get better. Look at it and go, yeah, that's nice. But if we have the ball twice as long as our opponent and the thing goes down to the last possession, we can be better. See, that's how I look at it.
All right,
we can even be better. We should have beaten them by 20. That's my point.
Hell yeah.
It still was a play at the end of the game. Look how many games we've held our breath to the last play.
Right.
Every once in a while, it'd be good to go and kick somebody's ass.
Yes.
I know, right? It never happens that way.
I mean, give me 1 week where, I don't have to hold my breath and be a nervous wreck until the last play of the game.
My wife made a comment last night. I was pacing around the kitchen trying to watch that game, just freaking out what was going to happen.
You can't sit still.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and watch it.
I have an irregular heartbeat now because of the Commanders.
Well, it is, but that's the thing about it that I love their
No,
fight.
it's not.
Look what Coach went through. Flying out, burying his mom, going back and forth. That's a lot of stress. I think they played that for Ron. I really believe that they played that for Ron, and they played behind it. And look, if you can get Carson back healthy or whatever, your team's even better. Because I'd love to have him come in the game if I need him in than the Rook. Because it's about winning.
Yep.
Right.
You want people to go and have this feel. Sure. Should he come back? Should he come back? No, you want him ready. I want him healthy again because you may have to get him. Somebody could have. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
I want the best 53 possible. I hope everybody can get a chance to come. It's no controversy. It's fact.
My man.
It's about winning. It ain't about nothing other than winning. And if he's not into that, then he ain't the guy. You hear everything out of Taylor's mouth is about, hey, if I'm out of here tomorrow, then no problem. Then I'm supporting him. That's what we want. It don't matter who makes the play as long as he's got on burgundy and gold.
My man, dude, I just need a shot of Doc Walker every morning in my coffee, and I'll be good to go for the day. Doc,
man, look, man, I'm just desperate. I'm it's like when you get in your 60s, I'm like, hey, man, I every season, anytime we're in contention, man, that's all I care about because this real thing doesn't start till December.
Yeah,
we know what it's about. It's December. And one thing that, Ron's teams have trended, okay, slow start. Well, now we're about to get into the zone, where everybody knows that we've been the best we're going to be. So let's stay with that. I just encourage everybody to just stay focused with it, keep supporting them, and give these guys that oomph. Give them what teams like Buffalo's and the Green Bays, the way Dallas follows their squad. That's important because you hear it and you feel it. So I'm not about, hey man, and we get to play the Giants. We ain't played the Giants yet.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
And they're doing it quietly, but they're getting better. And they did it in 1 year. Yep. See, people are flipping in 1 year. Miami flipped in 1 year.
Yep.
So
the Bengals the year before, right?
Bengals Super Bowl.
Right.
So we got to have that same thing. The bottom can become the top. It's the Vikings laid it on the line and showed everybody, just like we showed against them. That was the indication for them. They flew back. They were like, man, we got out of there, but we got to get better. And that's what I'm saying about us. Let's keep getting better.
I'm all about that, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, sir. I know you're very, very busy.
Anytime, man. Anytime,
Get out there.
Man.
Enjoy your Tuesday night, sir. I always appreciate it.
It's always good, man. Back to the grind. All right, man.
All right, thank you, Doc.
Commanders.
Thanks,
right,
Doc.
Later.
All right, everybody. We just spoke with the man, Mr. Rick Doc Walker, as usual. Just perfect.
Who better to talk about after on a Victory Tuesday? After we just had the biggest game of the last decade for us that we won. Doc, I mean, the guy is just. He's so excited that he just rambles.
Hey, real quick, before we get into joined by our next guest here, let's give out our game beers for this game. Obviously,
I don't think I got a 30
pack. Gigantic.
Pack.
I know Hall has to do chores this week because he picked Philly for Philly to win.
Something had to do, or else we can't. All three of us pick them or we lose. So
that's true.
Don't Chris Burrell this. Don't Chris Burrell this. No, but honestly, I'm gonna start this off of my game beer. I think it's purely simple and it's very easy to say for me. It's Derek Forrest. I think he has continued to showcase how he needs to be utilized as the center field safety time and time again, coming up forced fumble recoveries, interceptions, forced fumbles. The dude's doing everything. And he's obviously been a huge part of this defense so far. 6 tackles yesterday, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 interception. The dude is a difference maker. If you go back and watch the recap or the play of his interception, you see him playing center field, and you see his hips turn, and the acceleration once his hips turn and it goes darts right to where Smith is going to be, or AJ Brown. It's crazy how fast he is when he does make that, and so it shows the flexibility in his hips. I think Derek Forrest is the real deal, and he needs to be playing center field full time.
Yeah, I'm definitely loving the 3 safety sets that they put out there all last night. 100% of the time, you get McCain up there in the slot, you get Forrest and Curl back there. Forrest, you're right. He's a hell of a playmaker. You can do it all. Mine, so Doc talked about Terry. I was going to say Derek Forrest. I'm going to go with somebody who I didn't think I would be saying. That's for 100% sure for this game. Scott Turner. Shout out to you. Shout out to your family, man. That was the best called game I've ever seen Scott Turner call. It was simple, but it was genius. We're keeping Jalen Hurts off the field. We're going to pound the rock, and he did a hell of a job, man. And he looked good for 2 quarters against Jacksonville, calling the plays when Carson Wentz went out there when we won that game. Other than that, man, it was difficult. Then he struggled against Detroit for the first half, looked decent in the second half, and then it's just all been downhill. He's been catching a lot of flack, but last night was a master class.
It absolutely was. I mean, Brian Robinson
facing an MVP candidate.
49 carries in total for the game on the ground. I messaged with Tyler Larson earlier today, and he was like, "That was the most I've ever ran the ball in my life in a game." That was insane. But obviously, Antonio Gibson, 14 carries, 44 yards, a touchdown, and 3 receptions for 14 yards. Brian Robinson, 26 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown. They were huge. And it's like, obviously those numbers don't jump out at you as saying that they had a great, effective day. But unless you go back and watch that game and see that they were picking up 3 to 4 yards at a time, making it very short on 3rd down for Taylor Heineke and company, to the point where Scott Turner could actually call a run play on 3rd down. And they executed it really on a bunch of them. So for the game, going 12 of 21 on 1st down, having 40 minutes of holding the ball and completely taking the game away from the Philadelphia Eagles early on in that game. I think you're right, Reed. That's just perfection from Scott Turner.
Running, what was it, 81, 83 plays as opposed to 47 for the Eagles. Like, it was genius. Good job.
Yeah, and speaking of pounding the rock and Scott Turner, that's why I got to go with the offensive line. Just all 5 guys up front, well, all 6 guys.
Yeah, that's an amazing defensive line.
Cornelius
Philly.
Lucas and Sam Cosmi pretty much split snaps down the middle. So all 6 guys up front did a hell of a job yesterday. Started off a little rocky in the beginning of the game with the fumble, but from that point on, it was just total trench domination by the guys up front. Like you said, Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, the numbers don't really pop out to you, but to have 21 first downs, that means you're putting yourself in second and manageable, third and shorts throughout the whole entire game, and you're converting those. So hats off to the guys up front, and just got to keep doing your thing, keep mauling.
Yeah, to your point, Hall, the first time they played Philly earlier this year, they gave up 9 sacks. Obviously, they ran the ball 49 times. This is differently, only giving up 3 sacks last night, but just showing the difference and the difference in play between the 2 games. I think Doc Walker said it best. This was a complete just change for this team from where they were in week 3.
Second time all year that the guys up front have played 2 games in a row together or started 2 games together. So hopefully the consistency just keeps going.
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely. And then Terry McLaurin, 8 receptions for 128 yards on 11 targets. He got targeted more than every other receiver on this team combined, and that was needed. He came up in huge situations, and he made Darius Slay his son. Not going to lie to you, straight up. But
what have I always said about the good offensive coordinators? They call plays and they scheme up plays for their number one guys to get open. And last night, that's what Scott Turner was doing. Obviously, it takes a quarterback making the reads and getting him the ball. But I just feel like if you're drawing it up and scheming it up for Terry, it's going to be great things. You saw that on display last night.
And also, it's nice for Terry to do that to his son, Darius Slay, that he has now owned 2 of the last 3 times they've played. And the only time he didn't own him earlier this season is because he had Carson Wentz at quarterback who doesn't throw him the ball. So it's, shut out.
Don't say that. And let's go to our fan questions to start this off, boys. This is from Commander Viscount. Commander Viscount. I'm sorry, man. I screwed that up again. We talked about how to pronounce his name and everything. Because it's pronounced Viscount, like in English, like for us. But in his UK version, it's Viscount, apparently, or Viscount. So his question is, with Jamin wearing the green dot and calling the defense last night, and apparently coping with the responsibility pretty well, do they go back to Cole Holcomb when he returns, or leave it with Jamin, or even go back to Cameron Curl?
I think they go back to Cole Holcomb. That's what Cole's like. He's the natural guy, the guy in the middle. That puts a little bit less on Jamin's shoulders. He can get back to rushing the passer a little bit more and playing a little bit more free and not having, even though I don't think he's like thinking as much, obviously, because he's out there making plays. But if you just lessen the load of what he has to do responsibility wise, and everyone just goes back to their natural like roles on the defense, I think it only bode even better for the defense. And you also got to think Cole Holcomb was a leading tackler on the team, or is a leading tackler on the team. So I just think he controls the middle, mans the middle very well. Jamin's been doing a great job with Cole being out, but I like Jamin on the outside, rushing the passer and getting after the quarterback a little bit more than I like him in the middle right now.
Yeah, I didn't know that they switched it from Cameron Curl to Jamin. Which is unfortunate because I thought Cameron Curl was doing a great job. But obviously, Jamin Davis had a solid freaking game last night. Didn't have that many opportunities, obviously, early on. But given the fact that what he has been talked about and speculated on about who he is, the fact that he was able to come in, play during this time, be productive, and led the team in tackles last night wearing the green dot shows progress with Jamin Davis. And I'm rooting for the kid because he continues to impress and get better and better. And that's only going to make this defense better. But I will say, you need your best guys out there, regardless of what's happening. And if Cole Holcomb is the better player, you play Cole Holcomb. I think John Bostic deserves a lot of credit for his play during this time as well. But Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb are a great duo, and they deserve to be playing next to each other, without a doubt.
Yeah, like you said, I didn't know that they switched. I thought Cam Curl was still calling plays last night. But, hey, if Jamin did it, also thank God. Good for him, man. That's night and day from last year. But I think you do have to continue to go with Cole. He's been the guy since this offseason that's been having the green dot and calling plays and getting everybody lined up. So I think you just got to keep rolling with that, and it's not that big. Cole's a fantastic linebacker, man. Cole's good. He's young, too. And it suits Jamin better anyway. So, yeah.
And now this next question is from Brant on Twitter. Do you think we should stick to the game plan of running and clock control going forward? What do you think, Reed?
Yeah. I do. I think that that's the best way. I mean, this defense is very good. No matter they can succeed against anybody. It's just when they're out there and they don't have to be on the field too long, they can go out, they can dominate. I mean, it's easy for them at that point. But yeah, we have to. I mean, if you look at the strengths of this team, obviously you look at the wide receivers and they're fantastic. But Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, then J.D. McKissick, when he comes back, it all kind of starts with them. Like, and if you can get them going, then you can hit off the play action. These shifty receivers who are so good at running routes and getting open, you can hit them, you can find them, and everything will kind of build off that. I think time of possession is always one of the best stats that there is. So you got to keep doing this, I would hope.
See, Brand, I do think that the ground and pound strategy with then using play action to stretch the field vertically, being able to hit down the chains with Terry like we saw last night, is a great way for this offense to be able to orchestrate it. That being said, defenses are going to keen in on it. They're going to stack the box. They're going to force you to be able to do that. The great thing about this offense that not many people are giving them credit for is they are built for the reverse effect of that. They have 3 quality wide receivers that they could throw to at any time. They have 2 passing out of the backfield, 2 backs that could catch out of the backfield, and Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson at any moment in time, and they're productive in that sense. You don't want to put a DB out there on Brian Robinson the flat.
No.
You know what I mean?
You know what else they got? They also got 2 tight ends that could throw the ball in trick plays if they need to, in Armani Rogers and Logan Thomas. So hey, we got everything.
So like, I don't want to say that they need to strictly go back to the ground and pound strategy. I think when you go against an opponent like Philly, who showed last week with Houston that they could not stop the middle of the field power runs, that's when you use that strategy, and it worked because they were effective all game long. We can't guarantee that success for every opponent. Let's continue to try to work the run in, but let's be effective in knowing that we can get this done, but using your weapons to your advantage, and we have a plethora of them, and so I don't want to cling to that, but it should be an emphasis going forward. I will say that.
Yeah, I think that it should be the blueprint for every game plan going into whatever team you're facing that week. Now, I know the Texans are like bottom of the league or pretty low defensively against the rush, just like the Eagles are. So I think that this week will be probably around the same game plan, control the clock and run the ball, pound the ball up the middle against the Texans. But yeah, I think that overall it should be the blueprint for the game plan going in, but you should always be tweaking, evolving the game plan as you go along. And if you look back to the beginning of the game yesterday, they tried the 5-step drop again. What happened? Instant sack, fumble. Yep. I think you have to kind of stick with that ground and pound with Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. Like Doc said, eventually they're probably going to break 1 or 2 at some point, hopefully, and that'll loosen up the defense as well. But if you're pounding the rock up the middle, hitting the outside edges with Antonio Gibson and kind of pounding the rock.
Reed loves that idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
pounding the edges.
Yeah. Dude.
Pound them edges. I mean,
but no, I like the pound edge, the WWE wrestler. Remember him?
No,
he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, it loosens up the defense and it tires the defensive lineman out, which can lead to, obviously, you run the ball, play action fake, suck the linebackers up. But it also kind of gives you a little bit more time in the pocket because the defensive linemen are getting tired out on the long play drives and whatnot. So, yeah, like I said, that should be the overall blueprint, but you should always be tweaking it, evolving the game plan as you go along. But, yeah, I mean, who can argue with 40 minutes of time of possession?
Yeah, honestly. That was absolutely incredible to witness. And to your point, later on in that game, Scott Turner actually brought in Bates and Logan Thomas as chip blocks on a pass rollout, a play action rollout. So, obviously, the adaption, the progression of Scott Turner as a play caller, you're seeing it in real time, and I'm glad to see that it happened on prime time against the 8-0 team. You know, I said this on Twitter earlier. You know, it must really suck to be a fan of an undefeated team, talk a bunch of crap, go to a Monday night game against an inferior divisional opponent, and lose. You know, that must be heartbreaking to see that, because you know in your mind that if the 5-5 Washington Commanders could come in and whoop your ass on your own field, imagine what's going to happen for the rest of the season. Maybe you're not that good. Maybe you don't even win a playoff game. And I'll tell you right now, that kind of news is something that's so deserving to a good fan base of the Eagles. They deserve that kind of heartbreak. Now,
right. Well,
fan base is salty when two or three things happen. When they start blaming the referees for whatever calls that they did or didn't get, and when they start talking about, well, we're still first in the division, and when they start talking about records, because that's all I've heard all day was, well, we're still at the top of the division, where we're still 8-1. You have 5 wins.
Yeah,
that didn't matter when you was talking crap before the game.
Right.
Matters after the game.
Do you know how mad they are too? They wasted so much delicious horse shit that they were going to eat in celebration after they won the game, and now they couldn't even eat it. We spoiled that for them. You know?
Yeah, and it's funny because they keep saying they keep acting like they won the Super Bowl. Have some class. Like, dude, Jalen Hurts was doing the Heisman in the
right in the first quarter.
Like, what are you guys talking about? You guys want to have this conversation about class?
On top of that, if we're talking Super Bowls,
your head coach last week literally called out and said, obviously, Doc Walker had a great point in saying that he should be saying that. But I'm just saying, talk about class. That wasn't a classy answer from the head coach. So please.
Hey, your head coach also just threw your defensive coordinator under the bus last night after the game. And
you know what would have been class? To not let Terry McLaurin just sauce up and just do whatever he wanted to Darius Slay. That probably would have been class.
You know what would have been class? To not let Scott Turner's mongoloid ass just ram it down your throat. That you literally just let a special ed kid outsmart you in chess. How do you feel?
Stop it. This next question is from Twitter. We got to go fast. This is from Paul Murphy. Huge win. It's huge performances. Loving Heineke and how this team is evolving. So many star showings from likes of Terry, Derek Forrest, Brian Robinson, Gibson, and Benji. But who were your under-the-radar unsung heroes last night? I'll go for tight ends and Scott Turner and Sly and Tress Way. Who do you got, Hall?
I will go with, I think, Kendall Fuller. Doc mentioned it, 29, Kendall Fuller.
Hell yeah.
These past 2 weeks has been coming up big, making plays here and there. A lot of people were dogging him in the beginning of the season, and look, probably rightfully so. He was having some down games here and there throughout the beginning of the season, but just like the rest of the team, he's looked himself in the mirror, got himself right, and corrected himself over the past 2 weeks. He's probably been, if not other than Benjamin St-Juste, you can probably say Kendall Fuller's probably been the best cornerback for the team for the past couple of weeks. So got to shout out Kendall Fuller for doing his thing. Hopefully he keeps it up.
Yeah, dude, for me, it's Benjamin St-Juste. I wanted to give him a game beer. I should have given him a game beer, but it's a perfect opportunity. So thank you, Paul. I mean, Benjamin St-Juste continues to make plays. And his quote today in saying never give up, never to give up on yourself because you never know, and him giving up that big
hey, buddy, never give up on yourself, buddy. Canadian. Hey, guy. Hey, come on, Flan.
He's French, dude. He's not Canadian.
He's Canadian. He's from
French.
Canada. He's from Canada.
Oh, my God, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. And there's a thing called French Canadian, Kyle.
I know, I'm an idiot. It just clicked, dude. It's been a long day, okay? I've been running around everywhere, rushing. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Smoking meth and stuff.
I know, seriously. I need to quit that stuff. No, but seriously, Benjamin St-Juste, literally not giving up on that play, knocking that ball free, was just next level stuff, and he continues to showcase himself, playing great football, and I think that he is a number one cornerback. I think that he has earned that on this team, and he is doing a fantastic job. I love the adjustment by Jack Del Rio in moving Benjamin St-Juste over to Devontae Smith after A.J. Brown got injured. Because after A.J. Brown got injured, he's slower. And Kendall is better against bigger, bulkier, slower guys. And so with A.J. Brown injured, Kendall matches up perfectly with him. So by putting Benjamin on Devontae Smith, now it's speed on speed, and you kind of utilize that to an extent. And that's why they had to go to other resources like Quez Watkins and other stuff like that. So they did a great job last night. I think Benjamin St-Juste, without a doubt, is a star on the rise.
Yeah, and I mean, just the fact that he can keep his helmet on when his head flaps open, I think that's super that's super interesting. But I'm gonna go with somebody else. I mentioned one of the coordinators earlier. I'm gonna go with the other one.
Idiot. I can't believe
Nobody. Yeah, I was like, have you never heard of Canada?
Dude, what a stupid moment. I've had a lot of those, but man, that took the cake.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. It's
right,
okay.
now,
We all have them. No. I'm not done. I didn't even say one yet. I'm gonna go with old Jack Del Rio. I'm gonna go with old Jack Del Rio, man.
You want to give one to Jack Del Rio that bad?
Yeah, I got to give him his flowers. Everybody, like, he treated Jalen Hurts like he was the Capitol building, and he was just storming him on that.
There was a Capitol building.
I thought it was coming. I set him up.
No, but seriously, Jack Del Rio, this defense has been playing fantastic lately over the last, I don't know, 6 weeks or so, and nobody talks about Jack Del Rio, but we talk about all the players and how well they're playing, and they deserve it. But Jack Del Rio deserves a big part of that too, man. Jack Del Rio has done an excellent job. So shout out to Jack, shout out to his family, and I know he'll probably have about 50 beers for that.
Yeah, he will. Now, the next question we have is from Tony Franchise. Thank you, Tony. Is it me or is the national media starting to take notice of what we already knew? And that is Terry McLaurin is a beast, Hall.
100%. I mean, look, when you're the only game on TV and you're in prime time, and I mean, obviously, look, let's be real. A lot of people are like, "Oh, let's go watch the Eagles get another win."
Yeah.
Go to see if they
Let me
can keep
watch my fantasy team put up points. Yeah.
exactly. Let me watch my fantasy team put up a point. Let me watch the streak continue. So for all the eyes to be on that, and then for them to come out and get pretty much embarrassed, and to let Terry do what Terry does, which is go off against the Eagles. He's gone over 100 yards in half his games against his Eagles in his career. So yeah, shout out to Terry. I know Jamal put up on Twitter today, like, is Terry a top 10 receiver? And I put 8 guys in front of him. I got him ranked 9th between obviously like the D Hops and the Devontae Adams of the world. But I mean, look, he's definitely a top 10 guy. He's elite. I'm glad that the national media and the rest of the world is getting to see it.
It's about time that everyone sees what I see. For the longest time, I was the only one saying this dude is elite, and obviously he didn't have a quarterback, so it was hard for people to make the correlation. I'm just saying this isn't news to me. I know it's not news to you, Tony Franchise. I knew about this kid the day after we drafted him. He's the overachiever. I know maybe he doesn't like that nickname. Who would like that nickname? But the fact
Literally
is,
nobody.
But the fact is, literally, the guy
there you go,
has made
overachieving again.
the guy has literally made a living off overachieving in every possible aspect of his job here. Everyone keeps saying he's not elite. He gets a top 10 contract earned. Everyone thought people coming in thought he was special teamers. End up being the number 1 wide receiver. That's just what he does, man. And I love Terry so much because you guys will see at the beginning of the episode I included his speech at the end of the game yesterday in the locker room. I'm telling you, that is seeing Terry like that. It's a different level.
I heard it on the way to work, and I was like really about to like drive my car through a brick wall. I was like, yeah.
And you know what elite wide receivers do? This is how you know Terry's elite. They perform against the elite cornerbacks. And Darius Slay, Terry McLaurin, 5 of his 8 catches and 90 of his 128 yards came against Darius Slay last night.
Yep.
Darius Slay hasn't given up that many yards since week 15 of 2021, and that was also against Terry McLaurin.
Yeah,
so
and nobody has held Philly's offense to less than 100 rushing yards besides Washington since 2021. Only team to do that this season. They deserve flowers, baby.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Terry's elite. Yeah.
This next question is from Reginald T. Skinner. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you as always, Reg. Can we lock up Taylor Heineke and how on cheap deals so Payne and Sweat get paid and remain, Reed?
Can we? Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, Taylor obviously is playing really well, and he has done a lot with his stage. This was the biggest game of his career, I thought, last night, and my goodness, did he put on a show for us. He danced. You know, how many times have I said, all you can ask for is a stage, and he danced last night, dude. They all did. That being said, he still has more opportunities. And look, you have a blank paycheck right now, a blank check waiting for you, Taylor. Your play from here on out, that number's just only going to increase. So your opportunity is here. If you want that job next year, it's here for you. You got to earn it. It's right in front of you. Don't let it slip out of your hands, man. I think that can happen. I think Taylor would take a team-friendly deal. Just speaking for Daron Payne and Montez Sweat. And honestly, at this point, if they continue to play like this, I have a hard time thinking Montez or Daron would want to leave, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about before, like, if Daron has a chance to go to a team like the Bills or like the Chiefs or a team that's obviously like a Super Bowl contender year in and year out, I wouldn't begrudge him for going there or something like that. Any player, honestly. But at the end of the day, like you said, I think that they see what's getting built here. And yeah, I think that, I mean, look, Taylor's an unrestricted free agent after this year. So if they want to bring him back, they're going to have to offer him whatever the price market should be for a backup quarterback in that kind of range, maybe fringe starter guy. But so yeah, and then Hal's already under a deal because they just drafted him. He's a rookie deal. But, yeah, I mean, look, if you got a guy like Taylor Heineke on a cheap contract, that obviously opens up the pocketbook for a guy like Daron Payne, opens up the pocketbook to bring other guys in that want to be part of this thing they're getting built right now. So we'll see. It's really, like you said, it's really up to Taylor and what he wants to do with the rest of his career.
Yeah, look, it's right here in front of him. But let's move on to our next question. It's from the Colonel Reed. Is our win over the undefeated Eagles last night more momentous than our win over the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers last year or from 2020?
Yeah, it was, because obviously it's a division rival. I know they were both primetime games, but just this was so huge. I mean, it was huge, obviously 2 years ago as well, but just this being the Eagles, I think just made it so much more sweet. This was the biggest game I've seen probably in the last decade from us that we won. This was just so important. I mean, it meant so much. Look at where we were after the last Eagles game, man. People were throwing in the towel. People were switching teams. People were saying that this season's over. We might as well just tank for a quarterback. And now all of a sudden, yeah, and now, hey, we're right back in it, baby. We're a game and a half back out of a final playoff spot. I'm sorry, we're a half game back, not a game and a half. We're a half game out of the final playoff spot at this time. We could realistically be 7-3. Hall, I saw you have a tweet about that. That's 100% true. Two plays go differently against the Titans and the Vikings. We're looking at 7-3 right now. So, yeah, this was a bigger game because this could mean a lot for this season, man. It was beautiful and dominant.
Yeah, I think that is probably the biggest point I'm going to make here, because with the Eagles going into it, everyone was saying like they could go be undefeated for the season. Who was going to possibly beat the Eagles based on their schedule? Look at all these bad teams. The fact that they went in there, not only did they beat them, they controlled the time of possession. Like they couldn't get them off the field.
They doubled it on them.
Yeah,
they
more
than
than
doubled
get off
it
the
on
field.
them.
That is something to be said, to be perfectly honest. So I think that is momentous because this builds confidence, just like it did with Benjamin St. Juice last week going against Justin Jefferson. Oh, I can play with anybody. And knowing that you could play with anybody, knowing what you have to do and what you cannot do, but knowing that you don't have to be perfect, but you have to be able to go in with focus and a right mindset and play fundamental football, you could put yourself in a very good position to win. And I think that last night is probably more momentous for this team going forward, especially given the fact of what's transpired this season. The sale of ownership, the sexual harassment claims, the after the week 3 loss, literally everybody, the Eagles taking over our stadium, that was like the bottom of the barrel, right? And now look at them now. And so this win is something that could change seasons. It arcs seasons in my opinion. And that they are reminiscent of this World Series Nats team where early on they lost a bunch of games. Everyone wanted them to fire the manager. They don't. They get some guys back from injury. They start winning a bunch of games before midway through the season. And then what do you know? They're on momentum to the postseason. I'm not saying they're going to make it to the postseason, but it's just eerily similar. That's all I'm saying.
I hope so. I would cry. Like I cried when the Nats won. If the Commanders win a Super Bowl,
I don't think
I know this is big talk.
There's so much has to go right for them to be.
Oh, I know. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's such a long shot. Like I'll probably never see in my life, so that depresses me. But like I would literally break down, cry. I would be locked in my house for at least 4 days. I don't know what I would do if that happened. Seriously, don't. Like it's crazy to think about.
You're absolutely right. Now let's move on.
So far-fetched.
Our Discord chat server to finish up this episode, boys. Let's go to our first question, and this is from, oh my goodness, I missed it. Our guy, Tony Shivers.
What if you read it and it said, Kyle, what are you wearing? I can't wait to see you again later. Oops, wrong message.
Thoughts on Jamin's continued progression? Looks like he had the green dot on his helmet and was organizing the guys on the field.
Yeah, we touched on it a little bit, right. Yeah, but love Jamin, man. I'll just say, like I said earlier this season, Jamin's not going to be the weakest part of our defense, and I will bet my entire life savings on that. And he hasn't been. Jamin has actually played fantastic, and that's got to be very encouraging because this guy's starting to heat up. He's starting to make plays. He can call the plays if you need him to, but we like him the way he's been before that, where he can just run free, roam around, and make plays.
Absolutely. And now let's move on to our next question. This is from our guy. Oh, no, sorry, Tony. My goodness. Yes, Jamin is showing the progression that you want to see at a second-year guy. You know, everyone was piling on Jamin for no reason whatsoever.
Well,
man.
He played bad.
Well, of course, but you have to understand.
No, I know. I'm saying that's why. Like,
right,
I get it.
The context behind it is that this dude was literally thrown into the fire and didn't have much instinctual awareness, being able to come from a system only playing 1 year and starting. You know what I mean? So there was context to it, and that's why it's kind of like, why are you crapping on your own guy? But you're happy for the kid because it's hard to find success in this league, and when you do get it, you got to be able to hold on to it. And at the moment, he is consistent, and that's all we've wanted. Just be consistent, and that's what he's doing. So obviously, very, very happy for him. Now, this next question, Hall, is from our guy Meest, my guy Brandon Reinbold.
Oh, love you, Brandon.
I missed his question last week, of course. I'm an idiot. But who was the most impressive player from the upset over the win, Hall?
Most impressive player upset. Well, yeah, you got to go with, like we said, we talked about before, Terry McLaurin. He's the Eagle killer, the bird shooter. I mean, every time like I said, half the time he plays the Eagle, he goes over 100 yards. So, yeah, number 17, the leader, the man, the captain. It's got to be Terry.
This is for the Eagles fans. I'll say the refs.
Hmm.
No,
Mhm.
like what a stupid like it's just so ridiculous how dumb the arguments are. And I understand the face mask, like I get it, but can we be honest
It's
about
frustrating.
This?
Happens
Be
to every
honest,
team every week.
It's not the face mask isn't the reason you lost. You lost
No.
because you went into that game thinking you could cakewalk through this Monday night game against Washington and be able to have a Monday night massacre like before. You went in big chested and you got punched in the mouth and you couldn't get your feet again. And that's what happened. Nothing to do with the face mask.
Yeah, big chested. They walk in there like they were Dog the Bounty Hunter's wife, Beth, the one with this huge old knock. We had to show them that they weren't. But no, the most impressive to me, it's got to be Derek Forrest, man. Derek Forrest was all around the ball, and he just continues to show that he can do everything at the safety position. This trio of safeties that we have is really good, and I know Bobby McCain kind of seems to be the forgotten about guy, and that's because ever since William Jackson left and Benjamin St-Juste has kind of went outside, he's been playing up there in the slot, and he's been doing a pretty good job. He's been playing there, I think 26% of the snaps, so that's good, man. That seems to be a good recipe for success. But Derek Forrest, man, he's all around. Athletic as hell.
Now, this next question is from the Discord chat server, and Tim Towner. Has there been any injury news? Did not see much on Jahan Dotson, and down the stretch, did not see much of Allen, but thought both were in there at the end, which I do think they were in there at the end. I know Chase Young obviously got released this morning by ESPN, I think John Keim, that Chase Young will be returning most likely this week if everything goes right in practice. Actually, Adam Schefter did, or one of those guys.
Adam Schefter released it, and then Keim kind of elaborated and was like, well, he will if everything goes smooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that you're right. So that's it big for us, obviously. That's something that is keen for Washington to get back. Just adds more to that rotation, allows guys to be fresher, and maybe get some help from Montez Sweat just a little bit. Sometimes he does seem a little worn out, but he's been working hard, man.
Now, yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say they had John on a pitch count last night, so that's why you didn't really see him like in as much as you would like normally see him. But yeah, so I think jumping in the next, you see a little bit more.
Underrated player Meast, obviously, that we haven't talked about, John Ridgeway. That forced fumble on the face mask penalty. John Ridgeway, I know that he had the penalty that was costly against Minnesota, and I was very harsh on him with that because you can't make those kind of mistakes in the NFL. But that being said, he made up for it this week with that forced fumble. The players, they did what they needed to do. The Eagles coming into this game were number one in the NFL in turnover margin, differential rate, and they won it by 2. And that's what they needed to do. It was one of my keys to this game, and they did it. I'm just really proud of this team, man. It was awesome to see. But like Doc said, we can't get full of ourselves. You got to keep working hard.
We couldn't even give out any yard work because nobody did anything wrong. Like I couldn't think of anybody when I was trying to think of who I would give some yard work to. Everybody was fucking awesome. I don't know.
Shout out to Casey Toohill for his above average gritty as well.
Yeah.
Dude, that was actually a great gritty, and I was very happy to see. Usually I can't stand it. Usually I can't stand the dancing. Like I don't really care for it.
Oh, I hate it when white people do it.
The fact that he was in Philly doing it, I was like, yeah, do it, keep doing it. Keep doing it.
No, the best thing was Cam Curl after the game in the locker room
on the bench?
when he was and Taylor Heineke too when he was going off the stage or when he was going off the stage when he was going off the field yelling at the Eagles fans.
Wait,
I love that. Cam was he was on live and they said something like, "Don't play these songs." He was like, "Man, y'all," or something, man.
He was on the bench. He was all dancing away. He was like,
"Yeah, Cam was hype."
Dude, that's awesome because when Taylor left the field, he said, "Dude, I love Taylor for this so much." Got the field, was like, "Shut up!" Like our fans. I was like, "Yes, thank you." Thank you. Somebody finally gets it. Just somebody finally gets it.
But well, they didn't have snowballs to throw at them, so
chugging double fist and Boosh lights on the plane with Chase Young.
Yeah. So weird choice, man, but good for him. Yeah.
I love him for that Bush light. My boy James is probably happy about this. So was the Colonel. Because just Taylor, I think Taylor was already ahead of the game. He knew that we were going to give him a game beer. So he's like, you know what? I'm not going to wait till Tuesday. I'll just do it on the flight.
He said, I'll go. Yeah, he was like, I'll go grab some whiskey, tequila, Bush Light, beer, more whiskey, more beer, more tequila, and more beer.
Hey, last question before we get out of here, guys. That was a great job, Reed. This one's from Andy Lockhart. Why can't Scott Turner call a game like this every week? He put his ego aside and did what needed to be done.
That is the $1 million question. I wish I had the answer.
Yeah, it's tough to answer. No, yeah, I don't know. I think probably because of a learning disability or something that he has.
Oh my God.
I have one. We can say that it's not. I didn't call him retarded. It said he has a learning disability. Okay, fine. He has Down syndrome.
Stop. Oh my God.
My brother has it. I can say that.
No, you can't. Oh my
I
God.
can, though.
I don't
He
edit
gave
these
me a
shows,
pass.
guys. These
He
are all
gave me
live
a pass.
recorded. So
He gave me a pass. He
all
gave me a
right,
pass.
This one's a waste. But I just want to let you guys know by PFF, Terry was the highest rated Washington player last night with an 82.3 grade. Derek Forrest right behind him at 79.2, and Curtis Samuel coming in third with 76.1. They obviously played an incredible game, but that was a total team win.
Everybody.
Joey the third leg Sly, deserves all the credit
dude,
in the world.
Bet it's a monster. I bet it is.
Dude,
I
it has
put
to
money
be.
on that.
It has to be. The fact
that's probably what he was hitting the ball with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the whole
Thor's
joke.
hammer in his pants. Yeah.
Exactly. And he's just hammering that thing for 60 yards because, like, going into that game, nobody would be confident with Joey kicking that. No disrespect to you, Joey. But I'm just saying, the guy being a tank, I didn't think that he was going to be – and he did it twice. And
wait, were you talking about his penis? I was talking about his leg. Oh, okay. No, that's different. Yeah, no, probably, though.
Dude, you're so stupid. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap us up for this episode. Thank you to everybody for contributing to –
Wait, have you ever seen Wild Hogs? With Tim Allen.
You're so stupid. That's going to wrap us up. Thank you so much, everybody. Tony Shivers, the Colonel, Tony Franchise. Thank you to everybody. Brant. Thank you, everybody. Meest. Thank you for your contributions to this show. I really do. I can't thank you enough because it wasn't for you guys. We wouldn't be able to get through these shows. These fan questions obviously help us a lot with being able for our humor aspect of this. And really do appreciate everybody. Today is a great day. We move on to the Texans tomorrow. I'm glad that we were able to walk into Philly and do what needed to be done. A little piece of humble pie is not bad for anybody. It doesn't hurt anybody.
Hey, also shout out to Ron. That video of Ron in the locker room saying my mother would be proud was so cute. It was good. Shout out to Ron, man. That's tough.
Don't say that word ever again.
You said
3 words today you should never say.
I said shout out to his mom. That's tough. Or shout out to him. That's tough.
You said cute.
I said the word cute. Yeah, because he's a man that was super in touch with his feelings, crying.
I know, man. There are a lot of words to describe it. Reed, why are you making this weird?
I know. I wasn't the word I thought you were going to use, but
I don't know, man. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys again.
Wait, but do you remember Richard Simmons, the guy who used to have those workout videos?
We'll see you guys on Thursday. We got to get out of here before Reed says anything worse. All right, everybody. I'm Kyle.
Hell of a Tuesday, Victory Tuesday show. I'm Hall.
And I want to watch Wild Hogs, that movie with Tim Allen. And
You're stupid. All right, everybody. Have a good, safe week. We'll see you again on Thursday. Have a good one. Washington football. Woo! Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. And if you liked what you saw, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notified when anything new is uploaded to the channel. Also, we just launched theburgundyzone.com. You can go there and find all of our latest news, articles, and the latest episodes that are uploaded. Again, we also have the Discord chat server, where all of our VIP folks are in, like Andy Burrows, Scott Hartley, Sergio Martin is in there as well. Don't miss out on the Discord chat server. Go and check that out. Until next time, everybody, Washington football. Woo!